Good morning, this is News. I am Dennis Aseto. We start the bulletin from the corridors of justice, where three judge bench will this morning give directions in a case challenging the rollout of the competence-based curriculum. The last time the matter was in court, the bench allowed an application to have the name of the late Professor Muga withdrawn from the case. The application was made by Advocate Nelson Harvey, the petitioner in the case, after Senior Counsel Philip Murgur said the suit against Muga should be dismissed following his death. Murgur had been representing the deceased in the case, listed as the 8th respondent. The counsel told Justices Hedi Konguri, John Chigeti and Anthony Ndungu that they expected the petition would have been withdrawn once the task force was appointed by President William Ruto in September 2022. But the matter is still pending in court. Ruto appointed a task force to evaluate the CBC and recommended appropriate reforms to other sectors of Kenya's education. However, the AG at the time was yet to file the report and requested 7 more days. Other parties in the matter, including the Teacher Service Commission, supported the AG's request, saying the court would benefit from the said report. The court will thus be informed today on whether the AG complied with the directive requiring the filing of the task force report by the AG. Now, the High Court has temporarily halted the leasing of state-owned sugar milling companies until a case filed in court is heard and determined. Justice Chacha Mwita, while issuing the orders, directed parties in the case to file their responses within 7 days. In the court papers, Nzoia Sugar Company Limited, Chemelil Sugar Company Limited, Muhoroni Sugar Company and South Nyanza Sugar Company were to be placed under a long-term lease, with its operations to be fully under private investors. Petitioner Martin Nyangesa sued Treasury Cabinet Secretary Professor Njuguna Ndungu, Principal Secretaries under the Ministries of Treasury and Agriculture, as well as Attorney General Justin Muturi, over the move to lease the sugar companies. Now hear this. Mosquitoes have become smarter. You may ask why. Now, some are avoiding homes and instead hanging around primary schools waiting for children who arrive for early morning preps. Now, new study says they immediately begin feasting on the pupils at 6 a.m. Researchers said they believe the mosquitoes are going to schools to avoid the treated bed nets distributed in homes in Western Kenya by the Ministry of Health and its partners. The 14 researchers, led by Cambridge's Eric Ochomo, conducted the study in 4-day primary schools in Alego, Songa, Siaya County. Children in these schools were shot. Siaya has the second highest malaria prevalence nationally, and residents regularly receive long-lasting insecticidal nets. The Cambridge researchers camped in 4 schools between August 4th to 6th, 2023. Mosquitoes becoming smarter. Now, you will today experience power outage. This after Kenya Power has announced that 7 counties are set to experience power interruptions. The power company said the interruptions will occur at diverse times of the day. The counties to be affected include Nairobi, Homa Bay, Embu, Meru, Kiambu, Kitui and Mombasa. And the Energy Petroleum Regulatory Authority has announced the reduction of the prices of super petrol, diesel and kerosene by 1 shilling as part of its latest monthly prices review. And according to the statement, the new prices for super petrol and kerosene are 206 shillings and 36 cents, 195 shillings and 47 cents and 193 shillings and 23 cents respectively. The decrease in fuel prices is attributed to a decline in the landed cost of super petrol, diesel and kerosene. EPRA stated in the statement that the average landed cost of imported super petrol fell by 1.71% from $677.78 per cubic meter in December 2023 to $666.16 per cubic meter in January 2024. EPRA also stated that the price of diesel has been cross-subsidized with that of super petrol, while the price of kerosene has been fully stabilized. According to EPRA, oil marketing companies will be compensated for under recovery of cost from the Petroleum Development Levy Fund. Meanwhile, Kenyans on the internet are bashing EPRA for reducing the prices for 1 shilling, said, according to international market, that should have been more. This is News. I am Dennis Aseto. Good morning.
.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
On Jogo Road this morning, getting out towards the junction at the City Stadium, Landis Road, getting through the Kamkunji roundabout. There's traffic here, quite a lot of it. Getting on to Haile Selassie as well right about now. The Thika Superhighway is still giving quite some traffic coming in from Survey to the city. It looks much better on Kiambu Road now, so we don't have an issue there. Just your normal morning traffic now on Limuru Road, and then coming in from Spring Valley, Kabete, Wayaki Way, and all your roads in between. We're not doing too badly, guys, so traffic hasn't been too terrible. Ring Road Westlands is still a bit crazy, and we're looking at some traffic still coming off of State House Road, but apart from that, I think we can do this. Right. Let's see what happens in about half hour or so as we come to the end of traffic hour. We'll talk on SpiceFM KE on X, hashtag The Situation Room.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
7 minutes after 9. How are you doing? On to the final hour of The Situation Room. Thank you very much for keeping it locked. Hey, today is Thursday. Our Justice Thursday conversation is seeking justice. We, the people, are seeking justice. The Pan-African Bank, EcoBank, says it's a better who? A better what?
A better way, a better Africa. And how does that work? So you can imagine 35 different countries around the continent where you will find EcoBank. I'm not even talking about branches. I'm saying you will find EcoBank in 35 of these countries. Branches, there's 16 in Kenya alone.
Imagine.
So asking yourself.
And over 100 agencies.
Imagine. So it doesn't matter. You could be in Freetown today and you go to Kigali tomorrow. You don't have to shut down your bank. You don't even have to go and now start. No. You just continue, move on as it were. Great platform for you to be able to make sure that your transactions, your payments, your everything is seamless.
In your own currency.
In your own currency. And you can actually make that happen. And they said, you know what? It is just a better way to do business. And because you have a better way, you have a better Africa.
Dr. Patrick Mwinde is an economist and a financial expert. He's our friend. He's been on the show many times before. He's here for the first time in 2024. Good morning, Daktari.
Good morning, Eric.
Happy New Year, bwana.
Happy New Year.
Hey, naona uko sawa wewe kabisa.
Tunang'ang'ana.
Yeah, wewe ndio dola.
Ya tufikia tunaiona ikipita tu.
Ikipanda na ikishuka.
Ikipanda na ikishuka.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
We want to talk about the things that we are seeing currently happening in the economy. So, government created a bond, new Euro bond, attracted very many bids, proper bids. High interest, but it's okay. I mean, it didn't struggle. Within a short time, oversubscribed, took the money, went to the local market, infrastructure bond. Within a short time, looking for 70B, you get 280B offer. I mean, it's good times. I mean, who says we have a problem? Look, everybody's confident and comfortable with us. The dollar was operating, behaving like this. Suddenly, the shilling is now behaving like this, like that. The shilling is barking now. It's woof.
Right, okay.
No, our shilling is actually the lion. The two lions on our coat of arms are roaring. We want to understand exactly what's happening. Tufanye nini sasa? Tungoje mambo yende vipi? Let me welcome you with the day's proverb. The proverbs this week are from Angola. And today's proverb, you cannot do without water, even if it drowned your child. You cannot do without water, even if it drowned your child.
Interesting one. You get an accident, but you still use the same vehicle to rescue them.
We still use the same road.
To evacuate them.
Yep.
You use the same vehicle, you use the same instruments, but sometimes those bad things happen. But that doesn't mean that we don't continue.
Indeed.
Life has to continue.
Indeed.
Yes.
So let me set the scene. And as I set the scene now here, I'll start with a statement by the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury earlier this week on the successful pricing of a $1.5 billion Eurobond, strengthening debt management strategy for the country. He said the government is pleased to announce the successful pricing of a new 9.75% $1.5 billion Eurobond due in 2031. It'll amortize in 3 equal installments, 2029, 2030 and 2031, resulting in a weighted average life of 6 years. The 2031 Eurobonds have an issue price of 97.27%, yielding 10.375%. Kenya received strong demand with a high-quality order book exceeding $6 billion. We were there for 1.5. $6 billion order book, allowing the tighter pricing and an increased issuance compared to initial guidance. The proceeds from the 2031 Eurobond will fund the offer to buy Kenya's existing $2 billion Eurobond that's due later this year, pending demand in the tender offer. Results are expected today, February 15th, 2024. So he says this basically shows that we are doing well. The international capital markets are providing essential liquidity for the government, and the successful transaction underscores investor confidence in Kenya. The government appreciates the strong partnership with the total amount received in terms of bids, 288 billion. We decided to take 240 billion, because, I mean, why take the whole 280? You can just refuse. I mean, we're going for 70. We took 280. At what interest rate? At 18.6%. Not so bad. Not 20. 18.6%. This also, from commentaries that we've seen, is signaling something that's happening in terms of confidence of the market in, okay, you guys want how much? 70. Here. People say here. It goes times 4 to 80 comes. You now therefore decide to check 240. It's not a bad thing. In the same period, the shilling, which was Okoh, Palma, Simba, Menyeshewa, it's just been raining, El Nino, left, right, and center. The shilling has lost significantly over the last 1 year. Suddenly, in a span of a few days, the shilling gains heavily against the dollar. And yesterday alone, Ndu was surprised. It's like yesterday, Ndu was just sitting there doing calls. Ningapi sai? Ni 160. Ningapi sai? Ni 155. Ningapi sai? Ni 154. Ningapi sai? Ni 153. Ai? Ningapi sai? Ni 150.
Yeah.
What did it close at yesterday, the shilling?
It was around 150.
Yep.
I think some went up to around 150. The market have just opened. So probably today we might go below 150. By the close of the markets.
By the close of the market.
Yeah, I think they have just opened.
Okay.
What sorcery is this?
I think this has been a very interesting week in many ways. Number one, when the government went to the international market, I think there was no mention of we are borrowing, unless I missed some information. I think the information that came out is that we were offering to buy back. Okay. The bond that was embedded, I think, was a bit silent until it was announced. So I think that was, unless I missed some information. So I think what came out was that we were buying back part of the...
it's the same thing I remember, actually. Even the president speaking, when was he? He was in France. And he said, we're going back into the market in maybe February or March, and we will be seeking to buy back $1 billion.
Yes.
Okay, the 2 billion shillings, the people who we had borrowed from, which is Ndu Okoh and Patrick Mwinde.
Yes.
So Eric comes back. He's supposed to pay back 2 billion. But in the meantime, he's been paying an interest on it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I've been paying the interest to you too.
Yes.
So what does buyback mean? I owe you 2 billion shillings, the principal amount that you'd given me.
I'm simply recalling the principal amount before the due date. So the due date was supposed to be June 24. So I'm only recalling that maybe about 8 months earlier.
You who owes it?
Yes, the government is the one that is recalling it. Okay, so what I'm saying is that give me that voucher that I gave you.
Okay, I'll give
that
you
was supposed to pay you in June 24.
Yeah,
you give it to me back today.
Okay,
so I pay you back the voucher value and then the interest that is outstanding. So it means that you reduce the maturity.
So the interest from for the next 8 months, I will not pay.
Yeah, then I try to save on the interest for the remaining months.
Okay.
So it's a question of trying to manage. It's just like when you repay a loan.
It's early repayment of a loan.
Uh,
Of a loan, yes.
Okay.
So that was the buyback was.
Okay.
But I think that was mentioned. So the 1.5 billion didn't come out in that discussion. So I think that's what I'm saying. It was a bit of a surprise when it came. And when you check most of the analytical and expert opinions, nobody expected that we'll be borrowing within this time. So many people expected to be back to the international market maybe by the end of the second or that quarter. So many people expected to be in the market around July. It's silent whether we were in the international market.
Okay.
Yes.
So now that we've gone to the international market, taken the $1.5 billion,
Yes.
and the prof here commits that this $1.5 billion will be used to repay the $2 billion.
Yes.
What happens to the $0.5 billion?
What you have done is to exchange. What you're doing is to exchange a loan with another loan. So it was a 10-year loan, new interest repayment. So now it means that the $2 billion will pay part of it now, and then we'll have a new instrument. So technically, in terms of the principal, we still have a loan to repay.
So why would you do that? Because what the loan is due, you need to pay it somehow, and there's somebody who's willing to lend you the money. Is that why you would make such a decision?
Peter John.
Yeah. Peter Paul.
That's what I'm saying. It was a bit of an interesting decision because all the indications were that we have enough, probably quantity of dollars to manage the $2 billion. Okay, so all the indicators were good. The international institution, Bretton Woods Institute, which is the World Bank, the IMF, they had given a good cushion, a good buffer. We have seen tourism was recovering, so they were probably good. What that means is that, remember we had announced we are going to pay back in December voluntarily.
Yeah.
Nobody prompted us to do that.
Yeah.
So when we missed that payment, you create like an anxiety in the market. Okay, but still between January and early this month, what has been happening is that we really were in good space in terms of dollars and dollar flows. So why we have decided to exchange it, to me it's more of you postpone a crisis.
Why?
It's just like I throw you a tear gas canister, you are lucky to hold it, and then you throw it 70 meters ahead or back. So we have put this interest SGR loans, which are also very heavy dollar demands. So I think the SGR are paid in July. So you're putting a lot of pressure on the month of probably July and August.
Yeah.
But the other thing that we need to understand is that the offer rate is very attractive.
To whom?
Coupon 9.75% to the dollar. That's a very high interest in global standards. So even the people who are risk averse, that would be very attractive. So what happens is, like, we look at the Eurobond that we are exchanging. If I remember well, it should have been borrowed at 6.45 or thereabout. We have exchanged it with 9.75 coupon. Yeah. So that's you're exchanging a cheaper loan with a more expensive loan
with a shorter tenure.
With a shorter tenure. So if we do not get the revenue side correct, we might be creating a serious problem in the future.
But Patrick, really, why would you do that? As we talk about it now, it's very clear. You have a loan, there's obligations on it. You decide we're going to pay it early. You swap it out for a more expensive one that's due in the shorter term. It just already doesn't make sense. Why would you, as a nation, make a decision to do that? Why would you?
That's what I'm saying. We are interested in circumstances. Sometimes probably what the public has been told about the real economy is not probably what is the reality. Remember, in many times when I appeared in this show, you can never cheat the economy. The actual economy, you can never cheat it. Okay? So There's nothing wrong with taking a strategic decision to exchange a loan facility. Normally that happens in any economy or in any company or in any business. The question that we should be asking, and this is the question that should be troubling us, is that when we took this loan in 2014, the law expects that we use that money in development. And the reason why you took that loan was because the development should have cost sufficient revenues to the government to be able to comfortably manage the interest and the principal repayment. So if the money went to the right things, then we expect we should be generating enough revenues in the economy to be able to comfortably repay, not to exchange the loan with another one. Now, the question that we're asking is, why are we then borrowing to repay? Why are we exchanging that? It means probably this loan does not trigger the impact that we expected in the economy. So, for example, if I take a loan today and I put it in a business, the expectation is that the business will be able to improve, raise enough revenues to repay the loan. If it didn't do that, then probably I resort into another borrowing to repay what is maturing. Now, in technical finance language, economic language, exchanging loan facilities with another one probably are indicators of financial distress. So those are some of the indicators of financial distress. It's like when you go to a bank, you take a loan, or you start with your SACCO, you take a loan. By the time you are done with that in the euro, you have exchanged it with 9.75. Okay?
Is it because the cheaper loans don't exist?
No.
Okay.
No,
that's put it aside. And it's because in order to pay this, there's no other source of money to pay these loans.
That is the implication now.
No, it's not the implication. It's the thing.
Yes.
It's what is happening. You don't have any. And the thing is, you have to get money to pay it, and the only other
all indications are the only other source
was borrowing.
Is borrowing,
yes,
right?
Yes.
So now, if you know that that's the only option that you have, why go for a more expensive option?
No,
or do we not know of the cheaper option?
Was that the only?
Or is that the only available option?
The people want the money based on how they assess your risk. Sure. So it is now a question of risk pricing. So
they assess your risk and also your desperation, isn't it?
Yeah, because do you have to take it? They can assess your risk as much as they like. They can assess until nighttime. That's fine.
Can also see you're desperate.
They can also see you're desperate. So which trumps the other? Is it desperation at that point because time is ticking away? Or because you need to then at least be on the right side of rain as concerns fiscal responsibility? Because what then fuels the decision look, you're already in trouble.
Yes.
You're already late. You already have responsibility past your ears. Why would you take the decision to enter into a much more expensive commitment? I don't understand. Yes. I'm really trying to understand.
Now, the two actors probably are standing on different positions. Okay. Now, for the investor, the owner of the money, they assess your risk. So the fact that they're giving you more high risk is because probably they consider you to be more credit risk. Now, you accept it because it's normally their bids and offers. You accept it now. It's the question of where now becomes like a desperation on your part. You accepting it because now you probably do not have any option. Okay. For the person in the market, the person who is giving the credit, they have considered you are high risk. Now, just the same week, Ivory Coast issued their loan at 7.6 something in the same market. And they also got oversubscribed.
Which is all right, because look, there's the basement available and the commitment is knocking at your door. In fact, it's inside, it's having available and you are desperate. Is that not the case? It's not as though you're flirting with different options and saying, oh, well, here's another option. How about I take this?
You see, it means there's nobody who's giving you money at a cheaper rate. Because if you come now to the domestic, because there's something is the rule book that is playing the domestic market. Treasury bills now are doing 16 point up to 16.6. Now, the bond that was offered, the infrastructure bond, is at 18.5. Those are very attractive interest rates. Partly the central bank investment.
And what's the term?
It's 7 years.
7 years, okay.
Yes.
So in 7 years, right? Over 7 years, as interest it becomes due and it's payable, etc., etc. There's a possibility where what has happened
income to 200,000. So the 100,000 that I'm repaying becomes lighter in context of my debt burden.
Sure.
So that's what I'm saying. If we do not fix the economy now, this is a very short-lived reprieve. Now, what we have done is we have put pressure on the interest component, which has been the huge consumer of our revenues. Right now, as we speak and as we stand here, interest repayment is the single largest expenditure of government right now. This year, we are projecting probably 750 billion is going to interest.
Just interest.
Alone. Interest alone.
Whoa.
Interest alone. So what we have done is the interest that we are taking right now, because all the loans that we are taking, whether they are domestic or whether they are external, the interest has increased. So probably next year or the year about, we'll be doing 850 billion.
Wow.
So what I'm saying is, if
Patrick, that money is coming to go there. It is
the
coming.
original money that you borrowed. Because always what you're paying on top of 7 years, 2014, 10
in this
years.
new window that you've created, you've created a new window by getting some $2 billion from the market.
Yes.
So you don't have any wiggle room even to do those things that you're saying, let's do something with our economy. So that we can grow the economy to grow the revenues. So when you grow the revenues, the
Revenge is for children. It's for kids. When you grow up, you realize the best revenge you can take on somebody is to ignore them.
I'm just new in politics. It is not everybody's cup of tea.
Do not have ideologies, whether luring or otherwise.
And that is the effect of corruption.
any time an offense occurs,
Leaders, everything then becomes chaotic that you cannot be able to change a nation.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
We are coming out of traffic hour, and what does it look like now? The Thika Superhighway did the business this morning. Wow, everybody was either leaving at the same time or something went wrong, but at least now we're looking at it's much better. And it seems like that's the only place. Uhuru Highway, some here and there. Jogo Road, of course. Landis, yes, Landis says I will not be left behind on this Thursday here as well, getting into the CBD. But apart from that, I think you'll be all right coming out of traffic hour. Let's keep an eye on things through the day. We'll talk on SpiceFM, KE on X.
The information that we had from the National Treasury earlier in the year, when the National Treasury spoke about why it missed that voluntary early payment of the Eurobond, was that actually our advisors have told us to wait. Market is not favorable. What we're going to do is look at the favorable time, go into the market, get some money, and do a buyback. When the president spoke, it was in France, wasn't it? Just recently, when we quoted him here. And he said on the sidelines, actually, yes, we are going back to the market. We want to buy back this Eurobond. So February, March, we shall be in the market. So all indications were that the advisors had said, maybe the window is opening and it would be a favorable time. If you look at what has happened with Ivory Coast and who's the other country?
Mozambique.
No, the one that went Benin. They went to the market recently. If you look at what has happened, conditions are favorable. You can go. Indications were we were going to the market to do the buyback.
Yes.
So no indication on floating a new Eurobond.
Yes.
Okay, and then we went and floated a new Eurobond, and the result came in immediately that this is what we went. We were looking for this. We got bids worth 6 billion. We took 1 point. Smooth sailing from this point on. But what's the process of actually issuing a Eurobond? Previously, we've seen prospectus issued. He announced that we're coming for a Eurobond and all this. I remember the 2004, 2014 Eurobond, there was all
Trusting and a surprise. Because what we knew was the buyback. I think most of us have learned about the new float when it was announced. For borrowing and going to capital markets, typically a borrower will issue prospectus, say what they are looking for, what probably are the modalities, the lingo frameworks, and all that. But in this case, I've yet to see the prospectus. So probably you cannot tell exactly what were the terms and the conditions, because they are normally specified and defined in the prospectus. Now, this doing that without probably a publicly available prospectus is not unique, because in Eurobond 2, the same thing happened. We were in the market, and then the prospectus was coming much late. So that's why I said it was a bit of a surprise, because without the prospectus, it's very hard to know exactly what has been offered, what has been committed.
Where is this prospectus?
It's supposed to be a public document for investors.
Where?
Okay? It's supposed to be published.
Yeah, but where? In the Gazette? What?
Whether it's in the Gazette or in the website,
Treasury
it should
website
be,
or something.
even on media, it's a document that is supposed to be publicly available.
So it can even be like in the newspaper.
Yes.
And this is what,
So what they're going to accept, the modalities for paying, it's normally very public.
And in what time period? I'm going somewhere with
Before
this. Before this action that we've seen happens.
You see, by the time I put the money there, I should know what is expected.
Okay.
So like now the infrastructure bond,
Yes.
it was put the week they were opening.
Yes.
And that was the last week of January. They said we are looking for 70 billion. They said we are going to buy it in this number of lots. They say the interest will be market determined based on the bids they have received. So that is the exact scenario when you're going to the international market.
So what reason would I have then for not making a prospectus public?
That's why it's interesting for us. And that's why I've asked, unless we've seen the prospectus, because I've said I've not seen it. I've been able to go, I've been able to try to search for it. And I said when we were in the market, we were told probably we were doing a buyback, not issuing a new instrument. Now, the question that comes in, was it an opportunistic move? Because you've just seen the market seems to be right because of Cote d'Ivoire and Benin. But even in that case, you still need to make a public document for investors to know. Sometimes that's why you see some people questioning, really, who are these people and buying the instruments?
Okay.
Because the question is, imagine a guy in the US knows nothing much about Kenya, no prospectus that is publicly available, and is willing to put money here. You see? So it raises some questions on who really is.
Can it be
the money that you borrowed?
Could it be that the ones who've lent us this time are the ones who've lent us 6 times before? So I mean, they know they have been in the market, they have interacted with us before, they have lent us before, they've seen our repayments for the interest have not been bad. So they're like, all right, so this guy is back in the market, or the prospectus will come. It's okay. I already know this guy, so let me put my bid. $6 billion worth of bids. It's not a small
It's a lot
amount.
of money. It's a lot of money. Normally in the international market, there are people the money is there. So when you talk about the financial market, it's normally a very big market. So the billions, actually trillions of dollars moving every single day. So the question of whether the money is there, it's not in doubt. So the money is available. The only thing that investors look for is where they put their money. Okay, where they put their money now is based on now the risk they determine.
All right.
Who they are lending.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. For a normal investor, will be looking for the debt instrument, which is the prospectus. It is possible, probably there are lenders who know us, who have given us money, or probably even some of them are the ones who held the 2 billion coupons or bonds. But even that, it doesn't give you leeway to go to the market without debt. The infrastructure bond and now what you're getting from the tourism. So that probably is easing the pressure on the exchange rate. So it's not clear whether they were trying to use the market to manage the dollar
As an intervention.
as an intervention.
For Forex.
Because the analogy that we could let our forex be determined in the market is not correct for us. Very few countries have what we call free float, where you allow your exchange rate to be determined in the market. We do not achieve a market-determined forex rate. So probably this might have been a change in policy at Central Bank to intervene in the dollar market.
Last
Now,
week,
yes,
the governor of the central bank spoke about the progress made so far. They were letting loose and saying, let the shilling and the dollar find their equilibrium, their position in the market. he came back and said, we have noticed that it's gone beyond what should reasonably be its position in the market. And probably we need to come up.
This could float. We are not really a free float forex market. So even when we keep on complaining the former governor was, probing the market, that's exactly what our market is. It is, we manage. It's ours managed float. Now, what we are asking and what we are saying is that when we have taken these steep, highly costly borrowings to intervene in the market, what are we doing now to protect ourselves in the 3 years down the line when you'll be required to repay? And that's where I have a lot of problems. And that's why we kept on asking, why is it becoming that every loan facility that we use, we have to exchange it with another one? It means that the money that you're borrowing is not having the right impact. On the revenue side of the government. And if we look at the expenditure side, because we're only talking about the revenue side, we must start speaking to the expenditure side of the government. If you look at the last 1 year, what we've done, the money that went to development, and development is the expenditure that is supposed to be probing the economy to generate more revenue, the national government only spent about 17%. The counties spend only 24%. The Constitution demands that you spend at least 30% of your expenditure
on development.
That is the minimum constitutional requirement. Now, even if we were to argue for argument's sake, in the last 10 years of Jubilee, they were talking about the big push infrastructure projects. They kept on saying they'll make
the government is selling something.
Inflows. One coming for the infrastructure bond, because also it seems to has attracted a lot of international or even the diaspora.
Right.
And also what you've got from the Euro bond.
So everybody's putting their money into the country.
Yes, and
now,
IMF, World Bank, they have also pumped a bit of
money.
Dollars.
Okay, dollars have come in. So now the shilling. So the question is, has the shilling gained strength? See in the economy that things then begin to change? Or let me ask it this way, shouldn't we then see that thereafter things will look a bit different? We've been told the reason why things are so tight, price of dollar. This is it, price of the dollar. This is it, price of the dollar. But now we've seen that. Is this temporary? Because if it is not, then we should start to see in the economy things looking different.
Yes. Now, remember the statement I used. I said this is, at the moment, it's a temporary reprieve. Now, whether it's sustainable depends with what we do next at policy level. Now, one of the things that has been troubling our market, in the financial markets, we talk about sentiments. Sentiments is the signals that you're sending to the market. Now, investors and people who are in the economy act on those sentiments. So for us, in analysis, when statements are given to the public, for example, when the CS Treasury speaks, or when the President speaks, in our language, the technical language, we presume these are insiders. So they are presumed to have knowledge or privileged information.
Yes.
Now, financial markets work with information. So whoever has the right information, for example, if I knew there was this dollar bond coming, if I was privy to that and I had the money, I'll have lined my money in advance. So I was saying it was a bit of a shock. We are borrowing it. Because it means that the people who have been able to buy that bond are the ones who had privileged information. The person who didn't have the information didn't have a window to go to the market. The infrastructure bond was out for almost 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
So whoever needed to buy it, they had the information that it was on offer. And they were able to put their money. So that means that probably there will be a bit of insider trading. We call it insider trading. And insider trading goes to the people who have the information.
Okay. Then that also means that these insiders could have colluded to determine how much they want to lend at. That this 9.75% is not necessarily market. Come to the international market.
Yes.
In a few hours, you've received these bids worth 6 billion, and you've come out of it with at an interest of 9.75%. Why 9.75?
It's bids. So I tell you, I'm going to give you like 100 million.
Right.
And me, I'm giving you my money at 10%.
X amount.
Yes.
And they were prepared to...
In the absence of a prospectus,
Yes.
it would appear. And that's why I said, in the absence of a prospectus, it would appear there are people who had the information. And that's why I said, if I was, for example, an honest Kenyan out here, I did know we were buying the dollars. Maybe I had my $100,000 I could have
put in the
this one. But I didn't know because the information was not publicly available. Now, I say the infrastructure bond, we knew about it. So if I had cash somewhere, I would be able to liquidate things here and there in readiness for this one. But this one we didn't know. So that I'm saying it opens windows for speculation. When you're in the national market, we might not say exactly they were cartel driven, but it opens speculation.
Yeah.
So we can only speculate really who are these investors. So that is genuine speculation that we can do. But what I'm saying is that the temporary reprieve that we have got is not sustainable. And that's what I'm saying, we must respond with the right policy interventions. One, to grow our revenues. Two, to open the economy to generate more. That is the only way you can deal with debts. Postponing debt is not solving a debt crisis. If we need to look at for the last 2 years, no African market had been there. So I said Cote d'Ivoire and Benin were the first one to go. And that I kept on asking, was it as opportunistic moment that we saw
and jumped on it?
And just jumped into it. Because we were not really there to issue a bond. We were there to buy back. But here it has happened. And that's why I said most of the analysts, and check all the publications that have been done, January, February, nobody was expecting Kenya would be in the international market for the bond. Now, it is not true that we are not able to solve our issues. If we go back to our expenditures, the government is still living extremely large.
Yeah.
The budget is still largely going to consumption.
Yeah.
And at policy level, we have not seen a decisive move to counter that. And that I said, you either cut your spending and put your money in the right places, or you simply postpone the crisis. What has happened in these 2 weeks, because what you've raised now is the Eurobond is about 225 billion. Then we have taken the infrastructure at 241. We took 241 billion. That's what we have accepted. That alone is how much money? Close to 500 billion that has been taken. It's 445 billion, 446 that has been taken within 2 weeks.
Yes.
Our debt had already crossed
11 trillion.
Okay? So pegged with the GDP, where are we?
We are doing badly. To answer to what you've asked, the cabinet met yesterday.
Yes.
And the cabinet decided that consolidation is important for the financial year 24-25 and the medium-term budget, which aims to support the bottom-up economic agenda through a growth-friendly fiscal consolidation. This consolidation, policy-making and decision-making...
Did I hear something like non-priority spending?
Yes.
I'm just checking.
Which is what he's saying. Cut back on